Welcome to the
Merry Christmas!
Get out of here. Let me just snap myself back to normal. Welcome to the parody, where we tally up the victims in our favorite media. I'm Chelsea Rose, and today we're looking at SRPO Spooky Month series, which started in 2018. First uploaded on October 30th of that year, the series went on to be one of the bigger ones in YouTube web animation. And honestly, it seems really weird to see how simple the series started off. Over the next 6 years, he would continue the series in wackier and, strangely enough, more serious circumstances. Along with the sort of escalation in tone, there was a huge escalation in the skill that went into these. The series mainly revolves around the adventures of two kids getting pumped during every month, which they call Spooky Month. Because, yeah, it's in the title. And sure enough, throughout the entire series, things get more and more actually spooky. It is a welcome addition to the mass waves of animated web content that have been making the rounds over the past decade. And also the new norm. Overall, the growth the series has made in the past few years alone is impressive. And as with Murder Jones and eventually Digital Circus, I'll probably cover future episodes when they come out. Also, as you may have seen throughout the past week of me teasing this parody, there's gonna be a lot, and I mean a lot of cameos throughout this episode. Some episodes might not even be hosted by me. I'll give you an example of one of these cameos right now.
Hello audience, my name is Doug Ames Kill Count, an Irish fan
with
of
out of the way, will this series knock off our Spooky Month with an extra high kill count? No. Let's get to the kills anyways. The series begins with an episode titled It's Spooky Month, released October 30th, 2018. The opening scene is on a clock reaching October 1st, and our skeleton boy here being really happy about it. Because, well, you know...
It is the Spooky Month!
Skid throws his phone so hard it ricochets off the wall and lands back to his hand to call his friend Pump. That freaking skeleton. He goes into his living room where his mother is being apprehended by a guy with a knife, but gets him to stop when he tells him it's Spooky Month. You can tell that this first episode, which is not even 100 seconds long, was just made for laughs, but I think, in my opinion, it just adds to the charm. Skid goes into another room where he sees, rotting now she's a skeleton. And sure, whatever, since only a skeleton is operating, we'll add Skid's grandma. Pump arrives at Skid's house, and then this guy in a shady white van pops up with them. He tries to give them candy, but they spread the good word of Spooky Month. They go to a movie theater that features the scariest thing of all time.
Ooga! Ooga!
They then decide to go visit a graveyard and tell all the graves in that it's Spooky Month. Get it on, ghost! They then whip out a Ouija board to tell the demon that it's Spooky Month. When they got hellish entities doing the dance, why not play some game? Oh look, Luigi's Mansion, I sure hope he does an ooga booga! Skid and Pump then head downstairs to find out a horrible truth. It's November, which means Christmas season is finally here. Do you hear that? Those aren't ominous bells, those are... Oh dear God.
Oh my God, it's Mariah Carey! We gotta run! We gotta run!
However, did you think Christmas was ever gonna stop him from getting spooky? And yeah, that's how the pilot episode ends. Yeah, that's it. That's all. That's all we got. I don't think he was ever intending for it to be an actual series right off the bat, but once it got traction, I'm pretty sure he went into series mode. And speaking of continuing the series, episode 2 came out a year later in November 2019. Also, for the remainder of the episode, I'm basically not doing any hosting at all, so that's another part of his cameo thing. There's gonna be, like, one host per episode. So, for episode 2, say hi to Death.
This episode is named The Stairs and begins with an attempted robbery. One of them doesn't like the house that they're in, and this Santa skeleton seals the deal. However, it's just Sid. He quickly questions them, but excuses the break entering because it's Spooky Month. Skid's very different sounding mother walks in because of the noise. The reason she sounds so different than in episode 1 is because she's been recast. In the first episode, she was voiced by Pello himself. And for the rest of the series, she is voiced by Elsie Lovelock of Murder Drum Spain. After a demonic intrusion, he calls Pump back for another month of spookiness. They first hit up their classic ice cream man, and once he realizes who they are, gives them a special deal. They eat themselves as ice cream and head over before somebody gets an annoyingly orange pass out. The next person they meet is an ominous clown. They tell him Season's reason, and his joke in response is an ominous laugh. Kid and Pup disappear to FNF, and someone else comes up to the clown for a joke. The joke ends up being disguised life. They barge into another home through a window, and an animation airs to the computer when they go on all sorts of websites. The owner of this room catches them, and they literally get the hell out of there. What they leave behind is something. At an old man's house, he has some visitors. They're Skid and Pump, and they nearly give him the time of his almost done life. However, he snaps out of the sensation when he's told what we're covering today.
It's a spooky man!
It's a spooky man!
Literally. Sadly, we're introduced to some bullies that spit on the duo, give them stubbed toes and a bunk on the noggin. They pass it off because of the spooky month. The boys tell them there's a party for that occasion in the house across the street.
Also, sorry to barge in here for a second, but I absolutely love the expression on these bullies' faces when they realize what they can do.
Chelsea told me to tell you that we'll have a post-parody live stream at 5 p.m. Central or any of these times on the screen. Skid and Pup go inside, but discover it's 10:31:98. Turns out for the treat, they've been tricked. They show actual fear on their faces before this guy can trick them. A lurker underneath in the house that drags them down into a place the homeowner probably didn't check. Kids aren't scared of this entity, however, and instead he's being taken out for a silly night. They go back to the boys and make them look at the titular stars. We're introduced to a candy guy, one of another Dead Meat fan's profile pictures, as the kids come in and order 3 pieces of candy. Jail. One of these people aren't the same 2 people at once, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what both me and the worker thought. Although, actually, we're all idiots. Further one was their starry cider of the nighter. After their candy is secured, the friend leaves. They go home where Leela has secured the robbers as robbed with an opportunity to have sweet loot. Also, that fat thief is boy band Kellen Goff, who's done VA work in everything from Five Nights at Freddy's to Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Before that other duo leaves the episode, Skid and Pup get him into their way of life. They tell Lila about what they were up to. Even awesomer than showing him the stars, they showed him the spooky dance. The episode ends with the entity doing just that. The episode ended up as a bigger success than the first one, so a third one was published in November 2020 due to said success. So that now I'm done observing the stars, Dead Media will now take over. Thank you very much.
Also, before we get to the next episode, we both forgot to mention this within the parody. So, the guy who owns that house got trampled. He's dead. Hey guys, I'm John Kramer. I'm John Kramer from Saw. Huh?
Booga booga!
Alright, Spooky Month 3 Unwanted Guest came out in 2020 and is my personal favorite spooky month. The video starts with Lila hearing banging in the ceiling. Turns out it's that demon that's still summoned.
You annoyed the wrong person, rat.
She quickly tries to get an exterminator to kill what she thinks is a rat.
You mean my friend?
The rat is your friend?
Yeah, and his name is Molek!
And you gave it a name?
Well, Skid is still normal. Lila tells him to go play with his friend, which he does. He pops into existence again and calls out for Pump.
Let's go to the mall.
They go walk until Frank the blockhead comes up and offers them a ride. They get in and notice that a person is in a sack, so they give M some of those delicious drugs, which I'm going to say kills them. After Skid literally killed a man, he gives the bottle to Pump.
We don't have more medicine.
What?
We then cut back to the home where Lila gets some help. That rarely happens with her.
So satisfying, it drained every drop of anger I had.
Was it pedophilia?
We then get acquainted with the exterminator, which I'll let him explain.
I am Dexter the Exterminator, at your service. I kill rats, bats, cats, and everything fast.
Then after he pretends to be a cat person, afterwards Skid and Pump go to this strangely named store. Why does this feel familiar? But I can't put my finger on it. The boys G into the store to buy a happy fella even though there's an already good Pepino right there. And wait a minute. I got it. Toho girls, everywhere. We have Raysen Yomu Marisa Chenroom Ea Iron Remilia Flan Saki Emoko even Cheer no made an appearance because of course we needed our favorite. Sir Pello is a big fan of Toho and added all these characters in the background as a part of a celebration. In fact, throughout the next spooky months there is always a Toho reference and made an animation in his usual style called Toho Project, the embodiment of Scarlet Devil, which I recommend if you like Sir Pello's style. Anyway, Skid and Pump exists the store with their new happy fella.
Let's burn it to see if it screams.
They are then stalked by a strange candy dealer who gives them a mysterious package and to not take too long else they will be in the hospital. So they die, so they will go to the hospital. Meanwhile back home Dexter is setting up a rat trap until Moloch comes up behind him and scared him.
You finally found it. And he caught it.
Meanwhile at the hospital, Skid and Pump wake up, which is why they weren't added to the count. They quickly find someone working there. She tells them that they shouldn't be there even after showing the spooky month dance. But after she says that isn't the actual dance, we see a bunch of corpses doing the Thriller dance. Hint for my next kill count if it isn't already out.
It's not spooky month. It's June.
Then all 14 of them instantly die, simultaneously adding 14 kills to the count. Then Roy comes over but his friends don't follow because of what happened in the last episode, so I don't really blame them. But after Roy sees the happy fella he gets an idea. Meanwhile back at the house, Lila, who's wondering why Dexter is taking so long. Maybe he's just in his lab or maybe right behind you. After turning a corner she gets jump scared, not by Kogas over here. But it's instead by the possessed Dexter, which I'll add to the count by Evil Dead rules. She tries defending herself but it's no use. Back to Skid and Pump, they seem to be beating up with their own happy fella. I'm sure Chucky would approve. They ask for a candy can but Kevin, the candy store guy, says that those are only on Halloween. But after the kids get sad he gives in saying they owe him this one. They then leave the candy to Kevin and leave. Kevin obviously freaks out at the possibility of drugs being in it, and it's especially bad when the cops come in. They then taste it.
I'm done. I'm so done. This is the end. They're gonna pack my fudge in jail. It's already over.
Oh, it's sugar.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
How lucky. Kevin is now off the hook and they leave.
One more day for me.
Ahora sí, chamaco. Give us the sugar.
Take it. Take it. I don't want it. Take it. I hate this job.
Same here, but I wouldn't admit that. Wait. We then go back, Lila being grabbed by Moloch. He noticed the kids and gets angry for keeping him up in the basement for 2 years, but the kids just point out that this Moloch is boring and suggests he should spin his head around to prove he's a demon.
Fine. Then I'll kill you.
See? He's not him.
Moloch dies in probably the funniest kill I've ever counted. They then ask if they could watch TV, which Lila says sure. Then Skid asks an important question.
Hey, Mom, it is a spooky month?
Well, sure, why not? It's the spooky twin month.
The video then ends with the guy on the TV doing an impression of me when Toho 20 is announced.
It's spooky month! What the fuck?
And that's how this episode ends. Well, there's also a jump scare, but I'm done for now. I put enough Toho energy into this video. The Booga Booga! Fuel the death egg. Goodbye.
So, sorry about this other brief intrusion, but, the reason why I didn't have a kill graphic for Moloch is because he appears again in episode 6.
Alright, now that Dead Media has done their part, I guess I'm just left here. Hey, I'm 67 Films, and I'm covering episode 4, Deadly Smiles. This episode was strangely released on Christmas Eve 2021. The episode starts off with Skid and his toy from last time watching the TV with a depressed person.
Just like me for real!
Chelsea, the production, is not the place for that. The depression is soon overwhelmed by a brand new fella. Their motto, fake it till you make it. But, aren't they still sad if, like, they're fake? I don't know. The happy fella wonders if this guy has thought happily. But of course he hasn't. Isn't it obvious? The advertisement then cuts to an unseen adventure. Meanwhile, Lila's been complaining about the new doll Skid has. It's caused Skid to ask for things he doesn't even like. The call ends, and she sends Skid off to Pump. Pump basically lives with his grandpa, who's actually Mr. Wonder from episode 2. Pump's sister is also Susie from that same episode. Their first course of action once Lila's gone is to draw. But of course, they don't have any colors, so they have to get it from Susie somehow. They sneak into her room while she's streaming and steals them. Also, yeah, the happy fella's here, and he has a knife. But who cares now? They can draw. Skid drew foreshadowing. Pump drew them stargazing. Very nice. And the happy fella drew them dead. Huh, you might want to check on them with that. Anyways, the next level of fun they have is one with the doll. I wonder what they could be playing. They're playing the knife game. As to no one's surprise, it's very dangerous and ends up with Susie almost getting them in trouble. They escape the trouble because they find loopholes. They start their usual night on the town, on a floor modeled after the floor from The Overlook. If you don't know where that's from a little known movie called The Shining. The receptionist, Rack, couldn't care less about them watching whatever.
I sold some kids beer because I'm tired of breathing.
The two buy kids movie tickets, but pull a Terrifier 3, and they sneak into a horror movie. His co-worker, Radford, freaks out about it, but Rick responds by pulling his running gag of quitting his job that episode. In the theater, the doll makes an excuse to leave, and since the kids, to be honest, are oblivious, the doll manages to leave unsuspected. In his van, Frank counts his money, but pulls out really tiny binoculars when he notices a kid running. As Happy Fella runs into the alley, he encounters hobos. But not just any hobos, hobo men. A reference to the Newgrounds Tank Man. And the reference actually goes further as they're actually voiced by the voice actor of the Tank Man, Johnny Uda. Before the Tank Man can be murdered, Frank sweeps off the doll before he realizes what he is. The doll's very sudden responses.
You stupid pig, you
His response is a clear reference to when Chucky broke his act in the original Child's Play.
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut!
Of course, they couldn't actually have Chucky in the show, mostly because of his potty mouth.
And also, copyright.
Frank's hand gets chomped, but he manages to soccer punch the doll in the face, and he throws the doll into a cop car of Jack and John, the two detectives we were greeted to last episode. Also best characters in the series. They're interrupted talking about their case when they both see the doll in the car. Skid and Pump are still watching the movie when they realize dolls can't pee. Wada boom! They run out the movie theater and ask the hobo men if they have anything to help. Since they were, to be frank, dumbass witnesses, they tell the kids that the doll got stolen. After they leave, the hobo guy has another hobo swing of some hobo piss, and they start making, okay. At the station, the doll is put down, and John, very stupidly, inspects it before sneezing. The doll wants them to pay for the accidental sneezing. In the cell, the thin fat thieves from episode 2 are solving a mathematical equation. The door opens, and the happy fella walks in. Not good for them. It seems nice at first, but then he pulls out a knife and he sends both of them into a panic. Jack comes over to find what to him looks like an escape attempt. Womp womp. John finishes the report, and they head off. Before we see a guy in a cloak. Foreshadowing? We then cut to Kevin giving the bullies some candy. But it turns out, no surprise, that the head bully Roy was shoplifting them. He tries to throw a concoction of candies into him, but it hits an innocent customer instead. With his day basically ruined, oh, great. The cops are giving him a murder doll. Now it's even more ruined, and it's gonna get worse. With the lights in his shop turned off, and the doll starts walking with cutlery. He runs away, but the doll grabs onto his leg and, he stabs him. He throws the happy fellow away and mixes up a gross weapon. He chews up a lot of gum and throws it at the doll, sticking him to the ground. He throws the doll right back as Skid and Pump arrive and see the damage. Kevin might think these guys are gremlins, and he's completely right. But they're resourceful gremlins too, mending him. Even though Kevin doesn't really like these guys all that much, it's actually one of the first showcases of Kevin having a softer side for these kids. So basically, he's the spooky month equivalent of Squidward. They then tell him about the doll they lost, and he tells them, somewhat angrily, that it's in the back. However, he can't really be mad right now. The doll gets up, cleans himself, and almost Jesus, man. Kills a cat. Before the bullies end up being the saviors, Skid and Pump find them with the doll. But before Rob can give them it, Roy messes with them, yet again. What this series is usually going to do is have Roy be the perpetrator of harassment. Rob and Ross have more of a cool, collected measure the further we go along. What Skid and Pump will have to do to get their doll back is, wait, give them their clothes? Okay, this can't be. Oh, okay. So Roy was talking about their sweaters. And since the TOS was going inside to have a modest cool down, Lila arrives soon afterwards, and Pump can go along with Skid because there's a bit of trust between them. After Skid finds the happy fella locked away in the box, they go to Skid's. When they can finally play with the doll normally, he gets away from them and has a seed-like proclamation. He's just about done with their shenanigans, although he can't even do a spooky dance. Lila enters the confrontation and very quickly finds out there's something fucky with Chucky. When Lila realizes it has a knife, she takes the kids into her arms and leads them into the demonic attic. The happy fella finds them behind a broken family portrait, but gets thwarted by the mannequins. Lila has a trembling plan that gets relayed to the kids before the doll makes it downstairs. The kids want to speak to his freak, and he does. That causes Lila to put the knife into his head and for the kids to put him in the oven. Huh. I wasn't expecting Chelsea to make me kind of well done doll today. But here we are. After that, Lila's friend John comes in. She also brought her own happy fella. Wait. Oh, yep. That one also gets possessed, like it's in the Cult of Chucky. She also shucks it into the oven, making another well-done meal for the whole family. As the adults leave to drink spoiled milk, the kids learned the lesson. Unlike Andy Barkley, seemingly only learning it after 3 90-minute movies. They join the majors in majorly drinking, and the episode ends with a news report on Bob Lavaz, the serial killer who's being focused on in episode 5.
Alright, so we're originally supposed to have someone else host this episode, yet by the time this video came out, we couldn't really get to them in time. Therefore, I'll have to step in for episode 5. Episode 5, released in November 2022, is called Tender Treats. We star on a guy in a Skelly Filet house before the newly introduced Mayor Evermore reprimands Jack and John for letting Bob escape. The mayor lets in the nurse Patty, who tells them that Bob has killed and dismembered 8 people. This is really bad because every day this parody got released, he pulls off some Halloween kills. If they can't catch the imposter, they'll be replaced. John tries to tell him about the cold that burned his coffee maker and his house down, but he won't listen. The deadline for catching him? Tonight. In Lila's room, it's actually Halloween. True spooky month. Skid and Pump call each other and meet up in record time. They go trick-or-treating as Lila watches. However, these costumes of Heavy, Shovel Knight, and Kirby caught my eye. What's Lila looking at? Well, she's looking at this demon guy, aka Bob Velsip himself. Apparently back in episode 1, she called the cops on Bob and got him arrested. Now he's back for revenge. She calls June, but she just thinks Lila is joking. Lila's not. She drops the phone once Bob makes his way into her house. She tries to distract him with the Spooky Month dance, but he can't really be forced to do it for long. However, she makes a quick attack of a lemon and pepper combo, a fry-cry bacon on the stomach, and a thwack on the head before heading off for the attic. She quickly leaves once he makes it up there and pops up when the cops are up. She tells them about his whereabouts, but he's mysteriously gone when he observed the attic. Enraged, she goes after a guy in a demon costume, but gets accosted when she beats him. Skid and Pump's Tricky Treats first take them to a house of a guy named Ignacio. ADMF reference number 2? Nah, it's not. ADMF swath treating after I stole a discount for Murder Drones episode 5. It was too hard, dude! They flex more trick-or-treat usernames until a guy named Father Gregor douses some kid with holy water. They then go into the forest and end a haunted house hosted by Strebber, who for this episode only sounds a lot like Ina. Bob then comes up and tells them things about eating human brains.
Did you know if you eat a human brain, you'll get a disease similar to mad cow?
Skid and Pup are entertained by the haunted house, but when they get out, Strebber's been severely injured. However, as is shown in Hollow Sorrows, he is still in the land of the living. Jack and John are still at Lila's door, but they can't seem to find the kids based on their really basic descriptions. When they both leave, Lila rushes out and calls June to help find the kids. They're actually both securing a lot of candy and want more from Kevin, but they'll have to get there as Frank's on vacation. Hold on, was that a goddamn pea shooter? At the candy store, Stan, Marsh, and her friend get pushed over by someone. I would certainly pull out that one mask kept on. She's desiring two of everything from the store. It might not be pleasant, but at least it's a big paycheck. Skid and Pump walk into the store, but it's Kevin's final straw, as they've given him too much trouble, recalling the previous episodes. However, this piece of trouble, he points out, might actually just be torture. For once, he shows a high level of empathy for the kids as he protects them from Bob. When Kevin's new coworker Rick comes in to see what's happening, he quits. To attack, Kevin uses gumballs again. Since Bob's a human with human intelligence, it technically backfires when he trips over them. Bob eats the gumballs, but then feels like he's about to burst out some chocolate. He runs to the nearest bathroom, and the stall with toilet paper in it has some guy that he promptly murders for his duty. Wait, hold the fucking phone, is that a glory hole in there? Now out of that peril, Kevin gives them a plenty of candy cans. After relief, a devil guy comes in, but he's way too skinny to be the killer lurking among us. So the Among Us on the dumpster behind not Bob? Anyways, there's kids committing thievery. Not these kids though, they're the one-third bullies. While they're roasting Roy for not having a costume, you can actually see Leela and June searching the background. However, Roy could just steal a costume right now. By grabbing Sansa's Queen Killer and boyfriend's Half Fury, he can turn into John Kramer. Hey Roy, that's my thing. No, he's actually a rapper, which he shows to his friends Skid and Pup and this guy without a costume. They're not 5 pixels wide, so it doesn't count. Skid and Pup walk past former parody record holders and past the bully, so they give some of her candy to. Rob needs it for his sister and not these kissers, so it's kinda deserved. When Skid and Pup go away, Bob comes up behind them and tells them that blood's a multicultural meal. And things couldn't get worse for Roy after a literal killer came up to his group. His parents, who apprehend him on the sidewalk and tell him to shut up and get in the van! Before Roy and his parents drive away, he gives his friends all the candy he got from his parents. Skid and Pup are carrying their box of candy next to a Goodman billboard when Bob comes out of the woodworks. He talks about flesh-cutting methods, but Pump doesn't get it. They suggest that he wants to play hide-and-seek, and guess what? They win more candy! The countdown begins, and Skid and Pump head down into an alleyway. Little do they know, Bob knows exactly where we're going. This is evidenced by him brandishing his weapons. This extreme hide-and-seek consists of Bob just walking and going into a meat factory filled with hanging slices. He stabs into some, but when he sees what may just be their shadows, he starts to... Turns out he was just forking in the meat. He's a bit mad, but continues until he finds another fake out and starts stabbing. That's when Skid and Pump sneak out. Outside, Lil and June contemplate where the kids could...
Mom, why you don't have a costume?
Oh, they're right there. We're just glad the kids are okay, but they were playing a game, guys. You know, hide and seek with the big fat red guy. Shit, it's gonna be Bob. It's gonna be Bob, isn't it?
Alright, jag off.
Bob bobs out of the building and onto the sidewalk. It's frightening, but they have a secret protocol. They pass the street, but look before it. Bob doesn't know about this, so he jaywalks. Oh, that certainly hurts. After he gets run over, we see a really funny clay model of the downed Bob. It was a masterful gambit, sir, and all of them get into the cop car. Jack and John fake Dave won, but Big Bob somehow managed to escape. That Big Boom managed to get to the car the further terrorized the four inside. He spits out a final mantra before a bullet enters his back. Just to make sure, they shoot him like 57 times. Jack and John get into the car, but Bob is somehow still alive. To show Patty a body, they run over Bob over and over again until he's finally dead. Pump gets back to his house and shows Susie and Mr. Wonder the stash of candy he retrieved. John and Jack take Leela and Skid back to their home. June just stays in the car, I guess. In his home, Leela shows Skid the way she enjoyed Halloween when she was younger. However, one of the pictures showed she used to be with a familiar face. It scares her, but she doesn't elaborate further when Skid asks if they had a history. The episode ends with them watching a horror movie and Leela looking back with sadness on her past. Episode 6 didn't come out for another 17 months, and for our currently final episode, we're bringing in just a Mario.
Hey all, Mario here. I'm your host for episode 6 of Spooky Month. Hollow Sorrows, released on March 30th this year. I'm glad to be here. Anyways, let's get counting.
Episode 6 begins with the flashbacks from the demon. We then see he's treated at a hospital of some sort. And in this lab thing, wonder if Owen Roof works here. We see Lila sleeping on the couch, and the two robbers are back. They go up in the attic and see a bunch of stuff, but they're just here for a couple things. They start grabbing some things until the fat one sees this giant spider. Nightmare fuel. We then hear an alarm go off, and they get out immediately. But it looks like Lila was already prepared. She kicks the robbers out like it's some Saturday morning cartoon. We didn't hear the phone ringing, and it's Lila's buddy John. She asks how Lila's doing, but Lila says she's going for a stressful day already. John offers her a drink.
You want to go drink? Okay. Yeah, I could get something to drink for sure.
We see Skid coming in, and he wonders about all the stuff, and if they're getting rid of it.
Are you throwing away that stuff, Mom?
No. Listen, it's just been a rough day. Would you like to visit your friend?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave in 15 minutes. I'll let him know.
We cut the Pump's house, and he answers the phone saying it's his mom and dad. But he's disappointed to find out that it's just Lila. But he's happy that his buddy Skid is coming over. We then see his grandfather look sad or something, and he decides to go outside for a bit. We see Susan answer the door, and it's Lila. She wonders if she can take care of Skid for a bit. She agrees. We see Skid and Pump doing their Spooky Month dance. Susan then tells the boys that she is doing homework, I guess.
She's not.
Yes, I am.
She tells the two boys not to annoy her, and goes to her room to do the homework. Oh, and also tells them not to go outside. The boys then sneak outside and start running in circles. Alright. Then they go to a couple places. They go to burn some dolls, get candy from the candy store, and even go trick-or-treating. But this guy doesn't want him here. Tells them to get off his property. We see those three kids walking, and Skid and Pump tag Roy. It puts Roy into a fit, but luckily Ross and Robert stop him. And the kids even decide to scare the mayor. And looks like Rick's driving the mayor. Skid and Pump managed to get into this doctor's office and mess around a bit.
And oh yeah, for the purpose of consistency, we're gonna be counting that decapitated head.
But they get kicked out. The nurse, named Patty, goes back into the room and the lights turn off. She thinks the kids did it, but it was actually the demon. She looks up to see the demon and is terrified. And believe it or not...
If anything, it's more like a capture, and this isn't a capture count.
You see some candles being lit, and wait, what the hell? When did Voldemort become a Christian? And oh hey, looks like Dexter's back. And this old lady, who's named Michelle, is apparently Dexter's mom. She says she wants her son back ever since she got taken away by the demon, and Voldemort says he'll help her. See Skid and Pump seeing this church, and well, knowing these boys, they decide to go in, and wonder what's inside. Ghost, hanging, death, who knows? They ask Voldemort if they can go in, and Voldemort tells them no.
Father Gregor.
Skid and Pump then ask who Father Gregor's son is, but he doesn't have one.
I do not have a child.
Then you're not a father.
He asks the two boys what their names are. They introduce themselves, and he asks where their parents are.
My parents work a lot. My mom is not feeling good.
What about your father? Oh, I understand.
Gregor then says that he'll be the kid's guide for now, and says that they're going to make their parents proud. He tells the kid if they cause any mischief, they say sorry to those that they have hurt. The kids then start running.
Don't go! You cannot run! You might hurt yourselves!
Okay, then I guess they're not allowed to run. Oh, what the fuck?
Not that normal!
Oh, thank God. We see Officer John and Jack checking on Patty, and see her standing in the corner. They wonder if she's okay, but based on that face, they say, yeah, fuck that shit. They just decide to wait outside the office for a little bit. We cut back with Skid and Pump saying sorry to the guy that they messed with earlier at the toy store.
Just find their parents, okay?
Come on, kids. Let's keep going.
We go back to the candy store and we see Kevin and Radford talking about the place. Radford is looking for a job here, but Kevin tells him not to, because it's a living hell. Radford wonders why, because candy can't be too hard, but Kevin tells him the reason. Kevin doesn't want to put up with Skid and Pump's bullshit, but they give him a bunch of money, and they are very concerned and shocked. Skid and Pump say they're sorry for not paying for any of the candy earlier before. Kevin accepts their apology and actually gives them the money back.
If you want, we can give you free candy. Really? What? No!
But Gregor steps in and tells the kids that they won't get any of the free candy, because it's way too bad.
No way! Are you a priest?
Yes?
Why are you here?
After Gregor pretty much explains that he's taking care of the kids for a bit, he decides to give Kevin and Radford a bottle of water. But this isn't any normal water, it's holy water. Radford grabs it and starts spraying it all over the place. Kevin tells him to stop, but then he sees that a bunch of customers are now coming in. And more customers means more money. We then see the kids and the priest walking, and Frank shows up, asking for the kids if they want to ride. But Father Gregor tells the kids not to go in the van because he might kidnap them. He also tells Frank that he's gonna report him to the authorities.
Just want to help the children.
Then do their spooky month dance, and oh yeah, no running. Back at the doctor's office, and we see Patty walking around. We then see the old woman, Michelle, walking up, asking Patty if there's a doctor nearby. The demon then changes its voice to trick the grandma, and says that they're gonna lead her to a doctor. We then see Skin and Pump knocking on that door. The guy opens it and sees the kids.
Oh, and I want you two to get off of my lawn!
Skin and Pump try again by knocking, saying sorry again, and the guy just tells him to get out. They try a third time, and the guy starts threatening the kids, saying that he's gonna kill them. Gregor confronts the guy for being rude to the kids, but the guy just shuts the door.
Come on, kids. Let's keep going.
We see the guy peeking through his window, and then calls someone. We see a doctor or nurse of some sort at the doctor's office. He enters one of the rooms, only to find a bloody mess, as well as a picture of Dexter. And if that picture's not enough to indicate that the grandma's dead, I don't know what is. So Grandma Michelle is going on the count 100%.
The doctor then closes the door, and we see the demon in there. You cut back with Father Gregor and the kids, and he's talking to them, saying that they should be nice to everyone, even if they treat them mean. Pump then spots Roy and his friends, and they want to go talk to them. But they get quickly stopped by the mayor. The mayor wants to talk to Father Gregor. They go up to Roy and his friends, and Roy wants to fight them, but his friends stop him. Skin and Pump say that they're sorry to Roy and his friends for causing trouble. And they all forgive him.
Not with me!
Okay, all except for one. Roy and his friends start wondering why the kids are acting like this, and they start blaming it on Roy for some reason. So Roy decides to fight both the kids.
There you go! Happy? No!
Father Gregor gets done talking with the mayor, and the mayor drives off. He sees the kids, and, well, they swap bodies, kinda. Gregor then asks the kids where to go next. They say the hospital because of zombies.
And who let you in?
No one?
You should always have the permission of someone to enter any place. Understood?
Yes!
Alright. I will follow you.
We see the hospital from the outside, and Skin and Pump are running around in it, while Father Gregor follows. They enter the room where the demon is, and Father Gregor picks up the picture of Dexter, and they find the demon. Gregor grabs the kids and runs out of the hospital immediately. Gregor then asks the two police officers if they can take the kids for a little bit. They agree to it, and the boys get in the car. John and Jack then ask the kids why they were following Father Gregor. They say that they want to make their parents proud and go into the church. The cops are confused at first, and Officer Jack tells the kids that they didn't need to go on this crazy adventure for their parents to love them. Officer John just says that their parents love them, no matter what. Pump then asks why his parents never came back for him, though. Someone then knocks on the police window, and it's this guy, and his reason for knocking on the window is, well...
Oh, I was just trying to scare you, but it didn't really work, so I'm gonna go leave now.
Can I go to the bathroom?
We see Gregor running through the hospital as this doctor tries to stop him. Gregor enters the room with the demon and has everything he needs: holy water, a cross, and the Bible. He gets ready to use it. The series, oh come on! Gregor wonders what the kids are doing in here, and the kids say they went to go find him after they went to the bathroom. Anyways, that's the least of Gregor's problems because we have a demon to face. The demon gets closer, and Gregor starts throwing holy water on it and using the cross. The demon tries to attack but misses. He uses the cross again and again and uses more holy water. Objects then start getting thrown around the whole room. Gregor uses the cross again to try to defeat the demon. It starts puking, and Patty's back to her original self. The demon then rises up, and Skin and Pump find out that it's Malcolm. Right before the kids can say Malcolm's name, Father Gregor stops them, so they won't get their bodies possessed by Malcolm. We then see Dexter appear and takes off his mask. He wonders where his mom's at, and says that all he needs is a hug because he's too cold. And we do see his mom appear. Gregor realizes the demon's trick and throws the holy water. He then holds up the cross, and him and Malcolm start arguing with each other. Pump tells him to stop. Pump tells Gregor to not hurt Malak. Gregor asks how they know his name, and they say that, well, they brought him here. Gregor starts yelling at the kids because they released a demon, and oh, it escaped. Shit. We see Patty appear in front of the cops, and they wonder what she's doing. She says she wants to be a cop, so she can legally own a gun. We then cut to the mayor talking to these two drunk guys about a trade for beer, or something like that. We see Rick sitting in the car, just chilling, and then gets blinded by Malik, and then just gets crushed, pretty much. He gets out fine and decides to quit his job, again. We see Roy and the other boys, and then Malcolm comes up behind them, and apparently possessed Roy. Gregor uses the cross, making the demon puke. We see that guy that Skin and Pump like to annoy, and the demon goes to him. But he just pulls out a gun and shoots the demon. And job here is done. Malcolm gets up and starts running, and even tramples this kid, and Skin and Pump take his lollipop. And Frank just decides to drive off. We then go into the candy store, and the demons possess Kevin. And the other, he's giving out free candy. Radford comes in to see what's happening, and throws the holy water at the demon. We also see Senior Palo, who gets crushed by the wall. We then see the guy from the doll store just kind of chilling and bragging about shit, and then gets hit by the demon and gets launched into the garbage bin. Malcolm then runs straight into Skid's house. Skin and Pump tell him to go hide in the attic, but Malcolm has a better suggestion, that is hiding in the kids' bodies. And being the idiots that they are, they agree to it. We see Gregor panting, and he decides to go into the house. And it's a big mess, looking like a streamer lives here. As he's looking for Malcolm, he spots this little demon, and gets his leg bitten. And this little demon starts climbing up the walls, and apparently there's two of them. He gets attacked, and we see that Skin and Pump have been possessed by the demon. So Gregor uses the holy water first, gets up, and decides to use the power of the cross. He uses the cross on Skid, while throwing the holy water at Pump. Skid starts puking, and then he uses the cross on Pump, and Pump starts puking. We see the demon sliver his way all the way up to the attic. Gregor goes up to face the demon and finish him off once and for all. The demon is badly injured. Gregor then uses the cross on Malcolm.
The divine soul and the sacred sky command you to leave this room. Back to the cold pit where you belong, Moloch. They command you to leave. Leave and never come back.
Then Malcolm starts turning into stone. His limbs start falling apart and then gets turned completely into stone. And I'm assuming that's a kill on the count. Skin and Pump come upstairs to see if Malcolm's doing okay, but finds out that he's turned into stone. They start crying about it, and Gregor just turns around and leaves. We see Lila and John show up, with Lila being drunk as fuck. Skid comes running towards his mom to give her a hug, and Gregor just calls Lila a bad mom because of her drinking, as well as saying that she's the reason why Skid is so insane. He then just starts walking away. We see Pump running, crying, saying that he wants to go home, and John says that she'll take him. Gregor shows up at the church just to find these guys in these red hoods. He wonders what they are, and he gets bashed on the head with a brick. He wakes up in this random weird place, and these doors start opening. He goes to check it out, and the doors close. He looks up to see eyes. He then gets on his knees and prays or something. And he might be dead, he might not.
But for the purposes of me not having to rescript the numbers, we're gonna add them.
We see Pump arrive at his house, and his sister wonders where he was. Then his sister realizes that he's kind of acting sad and wonders what happened. Right before Pump's gonna tell, Grandpa opens the door and says that Pump's mom and dad brought him a gift. And it's this cute little octopus monster. Pump's sister looks and sees that his grandfather has a receipt in his pocket, indicating that he just bought that octopus. We're then at Skid's house, and he starts talking to his mom, saying that he's sorry for causing her trouble and is just trying to help. His mother starts crying and gives him a hug. Aw, that's nice. We then go back up into the attic, and the spider grabs this mannequin. The series ends with the spider looking at this mannequin as we fade to black.
Booga booga! You just got spooked! How many people couldn't master how to do this spooky dance? Let's find out and get to the numbers. Oh, there's a note. Huh, what does this say? You gotta do our dance. Well, sorry guys, I just can't do it on cue. You gotta tell me what this is for. Plus, it looked bad. What's going on? What is
happening? Oh, I'm doing the numbers like this? Sure, I guess.
Didn't I make that dead-ass word thing? 29 people die in Spooky Month. The victims so far consists of 18 men, 10 women, and 1 fanfare without much fanfare. That gives us this almost 3-to-1 ratio that got spoiled by Frank. Thanks, Frank! The kills per episode stack up like this, with the third episode's moment of pride taking out half the victims. With a runtime of 93 minutes, we have a kill on average every 3.21 minutes. Also, since we have 6 episodes so far, there was an average of 4.83 kills per episode. I give Animus Flamethrower to Bob Vespo, not so much for the gunshots, but actually for the 3D body it turns into once ran over. That was actually hilarious, and the clay model seals the deal. Broken Pistol would go to the stranger who owns that house, since I almost missed that kill, and probably he did something to Roy, judging by that statement he made.
Good to be back, so that's it. Spooky Month is a web series that's been going on ever since 2018. If there's more of the series coming, which there undoubtedly is, I'll be looking at it on an episode-to-episode format, like I said in the intro. Until then, I'm Chelsea Rose, and this has been the Parody. Thanks a lot for watching this parody. I just want to thank everyone that was involved in the production of this for basically letting me have this come out within such a short amount of time. I only first thought of doing this with all of these cameos like on Saturday due to a live stream. So thanks to Yoshimelo for basically indirectly giving me the idea to do this in the first place. And also thanks to Defta, Dead Media, 67 Films, and Just Mario for being guest hosts. Thanks for watching.